Hi, today let's talk about something really important, and that is how do you change your response to something that's really triggering you? And so, first, let's talk about what is it that triggers you? We get triggered because of unmet needs and past wounds, things that have happened to us long ago, and we just carry them forward. And we don't just carry them forward as they were, something that happened then and only then. We compile every little thing that ever reminded us of that wound, gets added on and added on and added on. We accumulate hurt onto anything that reminds us of that original wound. And so the feeling that we have when we get reminded now in the present isn't anywhere in proportion or perspective to what's happening. It is so intense. So that's why it can seem like to ourselves or to somebody looking in, like we're acting crazy, like what is wrong with you? Or you can even think that to yourself, like, oh, what is wrong with me? Why am I reacting so nutso? I know this is nuts, but I can't help it. I just feel so much. It can be a look that you get or a tone of voice that you hear, a situation, a negative remark that gets made. And maybe from that person's perspective, it was just a throwaway comment, something that they said off the cuff. But for you, it is triggering. It is like an ignition point. And what it is igniting is this really big, really intense feeling. And then once you have that feeling, what happens typically is either you lash out in very destructive ways. You might scream, you might call names, sometimes people are physical, or you can withdraw. So it's either out or in. You turn that intense feeling either outward or inward. And if it's inward, then you're shutting down, you're closing off, you're contracting, and disassociating from the situation. That feeling of, I call it, like, because this is what I do often, versus the other, is this like an envelope just closing in on itself. And neither one of those is a very healthy response. And it brings your vibration way down, way down. It drains you, drains your energy. And it really creates problems for you in your relationship, whether it's to do with a personal relationship, with a partner, with a parent, with a child, with a friend, or in a work situation, whether you're the boss and you're dealing with an employee, or you're an employee and you're dealing with your boss or your coworkers. There is no way to have a good relationship when you are triggered or being triggered or triggering other people all the time. And so, how do you deal with it when you get triggered without going into either of those reactions? And those are really very quick reactions, and they come with some very physical responses. So you might feel like your heart is racing, you might start to sweat, your throat might close off, it's real fight or flight. Fight, flight, freeze, faint. Those are the responses that you can start to feel physiologically almost immediately. So you have a short period of time in order to respond. I'm Fiona. If you haven't met me before, I'm a life coach, educator, and energy healer. And so I talked about tools and strategies, and I talk about energy. And all of this is to do with all of those things. You know, those things that you're experiencing, those things are coming from energy that you've stored from those words, those thoughts, those feelings that happened a long time ago and that you're still carrying forward. And that's the energy that you're feeling right now is because it's still stored in your body. And so what I want to share with you is one thing is to interrupt the pattern in the moment, immediately. And the best way to do that is to take a big breath. You're having big, intense feelings. So take a big breath. Breathe in through your nose. Hold it. And breathe out long and slow. The longer, the better. And I'm breathing in deeply. I'm breathing in beyond just the throat, just the nose. I'm breathing beyond survival breath, which is what a lot of us do. We just breathe survival breathing, just like really shallow breath. I'm breathing in deeply. I'm feeling my chest expand, and I'm taking it down even further, all the way to my belly. And hold. And out. That really long out breath is so important because what it does is it helps interrupt that fight or flight. It sends a signal to your brain that says, you're okay, you're safe, everything's cool, chill out, and helps bring those physiological reactions, your heart rate back down, your breathing back to normal, your blood goes back to where it should go. And so you can start to think. You can start to think normally. You don't have to panic. And now you can start to make decisions. You can be conscious about how you're going to respond instead of just reacting like, "Wah!" or, contracting into yourself like a little turtle drawing your head into the shell. And so that's the first place to start, is with that breath. And then think to yourself, what are the things that are going to keep your vibration up and not drag your vibration down? And so some of the things that, we really want to do is to say to yourself, it's valid what I'm feeling. Whatever it is, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling hurt. It's valid. It's really valid what I'm feeling. I'm feeling this and it's valid. At the same time, don't give so much fuel to the feeling. It is valid, but it might not be real. What just happened might have absolutely nothing to do with what you're really feeling. Remember, it's a trigger that is linked to the past and that has all these other things just piled on it, accumulated on it. So that's where the energy ball is just rolling along and just hits you. So what you're feeling right now, that big intense feeling, really might have nothing to do with what's happening in the present moment, or very little to do with what's happening in the present moment. So your feeling is valid. So give yourself credit for that. Acknowledge that without feeling it, without feeling the emotion and putting a lot of extra energy into that. You want to stay detached from the emotion so that you're not going to keep yourself in a really low vibration. So when we say things to ourselves like, I deserve to feel angry, I deserve to feel sad, I deserve to feel bad about this, we're fueling the negativity. We're fueling those low vibrations and we're keeping ourselves stuck in them. We're feeding that fire. We're feeding the fire to lash out, or we're feeding that fire to draw in. And we're staying in a low vibration place. And it isn't helpful at all. we can't see properly, we can't hear properly, and we can't be who we're meant to be either. So instead, try and stay detached from that. Yes, validate the feeling. Don't validate the emotion. Don't put fuel on that fire. So yeah, I'm feeling really angry. I'm feeling really hurt. Is it in reality? Is it true? Is it true what's happening? Is it now what's happening? Is it got anything to do with me? Is it got anything to do with reality? Or is this a shadow of what was? Is this about what was? Ask yourself that question. Stay detached from it. And ask yourself that question. Breathe, detach, and notice. Ask yourself those questions. Stay out of the story from before and be able to look objectively. Try and be curious, be an observer. Perhaps that person had their own agenda. Perhaps that person had their own story that has absolutely nothing to do with me. Okay, so the reason that they said that the report was substandard was because they have a goal to meet. They have a deadline to meet. They have a standard to meet. And it's not because I am a failure. And it's not because I am not good enough. And it's not because I'm unlovable. It's because I need to learn how to meet that standard. And I have to learn what the goals and objectives are for writing that kind of report. Okay, all right, so let's be real. It has nothing to do with all of the things that I've attached that meaning to it, the story that I am living out from when I was 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, and then just continue to compile. So stay detached. Allow yourself to stay detached and stay in a higher vibration. Don't go into that place of negativity. Don't go into that place. Think about, all right, so I know that I want to be happy. They want to be happy. What is it that is really happening here? What is really happening here? Is there an intention from that other person to hurt me? Or am I putting that intention on them? Because of all my stuff. I'm bringing all this stuff. Am I actually the one creating the intention to hurt? Am I bringing that? Okay, maybe I am. Maybe I am. So keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes wide and in the present. Do you need to feel the hurt, the anger, the sadness now? Or can you feel differently? Can you choose to feel differently? Well, I can choose to feel differently. It's totally up to me. If I can stay detached from that old situation, from that old past, from all of the things that I've compiled, and I can stay present in the moment. What is the truth? What is reality? Okay, I can stay present in the reality, in the here and now. I can stay in peace. I can stay in a higher vibration of love and peace. It's up to me. How I respond is up to me. And okay, so this is not something that you decide to do in an afternoon. I'm going to never have a reaction where I feel crappy and I react badly and I blame myself or blame others ever again. That's not realistic. So let's get that straight. It's just not that simple. But if you start to become aware of the fact that a trigger is exactly that, it's not about the other person being bad. It's not about you being bad. It's about an old experience being reignited, and you don't have to re-experience it unless you choose to. So you can be in control with practice. You can be in control with practice. It takes time. It takes commitment. It takes dedication to loving yourself, knowing yourself. And that starts somewhere. So I'm really glad that you're here and you're starting now. And every day is another opportunity to love yourself and know yourself more. And if you liked what you heard, please subscribe. And if there's some way I can be of help on your journey in this process of liking yourself, loving yourself, knowing yourself more, please let me know, and I would love to talk to you about it.